it's Liz and Elizabeth from Simple Simon & Company, and we are here making our fourth quilt block of our modern take on our summer sewing quilt, nautical style.
And just like the first three, the fourth is super easy. We're going to show you how to do it in just a couple minutes, and then you'll be ready to finish up your quilt top.
All right.
So here are the measurements for this block. The center square is going to be 5.5 by 5.5 inches square. The two rectangles next to it will be 3.25 by 5.5 inches. There will be two of those. And then the top and the bottom piece will be 3.5 inches by 10.5 inches. We are going to have to trim up this block just a little bit, but I explained in another video that I like to do it that way. I like to make them a little bit bigger and then trim it down. But if you don't want to, you could start with a 10-inch and then vary the measurements according to that as well.
All right, now if you joined us earlier with our traditional quilt along, we did a courthouse step block, and this is like a very simplified version of the courthouse step block.
I call this frame in a frame, but I think there's probably 4 or 5 other words that you could use to describe it. But you're gonna start in the center and just work our way around. So she's just gonna take the smaller side, which is 3.5 by 5.5, put it on top of our center framed piece that we have in the red, and then she's just going to run a 1/4 inch seam allowance, just as we've done with all of the other quilt blocks we've made in this quilt.
And as I said with all of them, we're sewing on our Baby Lock Rachel. I'm using the presser foot J, and then I'm on my setting that is a 15 on my stitch, which gives me a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance.
And the machine already does most of the work for you, so it just moves the needle. So as your fabric, you just line it up with that presser foot and you've got your 1/4 inch seam allowance.
I just grabbed the other piece, so I'm going to have this middle row done here in a jiffy and ready to be pressed.
So she's got that second seam almost done. We're just going to give this middle section a quick press, and then we'll add the top and the bottom to the patchwork block.
All right, there you go.
As in any of the other quilt blocks that we've done so far, we're just pressing our seams towards the darker fabric so they don't show through on the other side. We don't want those, especially because we're using some white and some solids, we really don't want those to show through. Whoops.
All right. I'm just going to start from the top and work down. So we're going to stick this in here. It looks like maybe we cut this piece a little differently. So I'm just making up the difference here. And it'll all work out in the end when we trim these suckers up. All the way down. Okay, top side is done. I'm gonna add on the bottom piece. And then we're ready to press and trim.
This one we are gonna have to trim. It looks like I cut, that would be my fault, cut the center pieces a little bit too wide. So we'll show you how to trim that down. Actually in our next video when we show you how to finish up the quilt top itself.
Quilting is forgiving. You can always unpick and retrim.
And honestly, mistakes like this happen in almost every single quilt that I make. I do my math wrong all the time.
Math is hard.
And quilt math is sometimes really hard.
All right, here you go. Pass this on over to you.
So you can kind of see what Liz was talking about where I made a mistake cutting our sides too big. So we'll just show you how to trim that up and get back on track.
And for this block, it won't really matter because we're using some solids and we'll trim it up to the right size and you'll never be able to notice.
I'll just give this a quick press on the front. I've got a little bit of a crease right here, so I'm just gonna tug and open that up as I go. So here's our completed block. Join us next time where number 1 will fix my mistake and number 2 will get our quilt top ready for quilting.
All right, we'll see you then.